Bob from Go Wags Baseball, and just a brief little segment here on training the transverse plane. Baseball is a highly rotational sport. We talk about training in a sport-specific manner. We want to isolate that transverse plane in some regard. And we talked about a training overview. There's another video we did about that. And today, though, we want to talk about loading the transverse plane specifically for power and what that might look like. Is there a way to kind of like isolate that out and specifically work just on that? Because a lot of the movements that we talked about last week, unilateral weight training movement, had a lot of transverse plane component, but it's more traditional weight training. And to answer the question, how do we isolate the transverse plane? There's a number of ways of doing that, but a lot of it comes down to the exercises you probably already know, but paying specific attention to how you do it, right? The manner in which you execute the movement is huge, okay? And you can emphasize one thing versus the other. So if we want to train your torso for transverse plane movement, we may want to put you in a half kneel position. And posture is huge with this. We're talking about rotational movement of the upper body, so posture is very important. Hip mobility, very important. Thoracic mobility, very important. So if you lack rotational mobility at your hips and trunk, you're going to be weak in the transverse plane, and you can throw the med ball all day in your old movement pattern, in your old way of doing it, and still be not that much better off. You can say, hey, I had a workout, I worked up a sweat, I burnt calories, I'm in shape. But if you're trying to train specifically for baseball-related power, you need to do one better than just getting in shape, all right? And this is what we're talking about. For a med ball toss, you may want to go on a half kneel, all right? And work on this where my pelvis is oriented this way, and I'm going to shot put this. I'm not going to throw it now. But check this out, right? And that's it. Like, get that pre-stretch. And you're trying to break the wall down with your toss. It's not something to pace yourself with, okay? So right there, we isolated out some trunk rotation and a stretch shortening cycle and a quick turnaround. Okay, another way of doing this, with the typical rotational toss, right? Mid-ball rotation, or if you're hitting a tire with a club of some sort, or if you're swinging an overweighted bat, you may want to just work on reaching back and think of firing your hips first, right? Hips, and then come through, right? Hip rotation followed by the arms, like let that sag, let that delay here. Just like a lot of what happens when you do hit at regular speed with a regular bat. So work on those kind of things. How you execute the movement. Don't do it as an endurance event. Do it in short, powerful bursts. Another movement that I like a lot with the lower body, a simple ice skater, okay? Ice skater hop is good, okay? This is another one we like, right? I like to do a little hop and then stick that forward leg with rotation, okay? So little hop, right? And throw that leg, jump hard and rotate, firm front leg. You don't want to have it stiff. You want to have it firm, but not locked out. That's hard on the knee, okay? So again, how you execute that is important. One more thing I've been fiddling with. We'll try this, okay? We can try to be quick off the ground with rotation. Think about what my right hip has to go through if I go from here, okay? So again, I start this way. On the ground, I'm aiming this way, okay? Check this out, right? So that time I had this extraneous movement with my upper body, and you can work on those things and being efficient with your arms, torso, and hips, okay? So those are the ways you can try to isolate out that transverse plane, make your traditional plyos, some traditional med ball slams and tosses more baseball specific. Okay, thanks.